All right, and we are live. All right, welcome to our game of Masks, a new generation. This is the Core City Cadets. My name's Nathan. I'm going to be the GM for most of the duration of this podcast, unless everybody hates me. We get everybody start introducing themselves.
So I'm John. What else do you want?
Nothing. Nothing. That's good.
I'm Meg.
Walter. I'm Kyle.
All right. So, like I mentioned, the game that we're going to be playing is called Masks, New Generation. This game is sort of Teen Titans meets Sky High meets My Hero Academia meets Avatar: The Last Airbender, I guess, in terms of like how the story is going to go and have it's not going to be very episodic. It's going to be kind of an overarching story. Were you going to say something, Walter?
No.
Okay, you got like real close to the microphone. You were like tonguing that thing, so I just
Trying
wanted
to
to make
assume
sure.
the position.
All right. So what we're going to do today is going to go over the first bits of character creation. We're going to be talking about the characters' names, kind of how they look, and their abilities, along with their moves. And hopefully, John, if you are ready, we're going to get started with you. So what character did you, or archetype did you end up choosing?
So I believe we're going to roll with the delinquent.
Okay.
Seems to fit what I want to do overall the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the delinquent with a little bit of a twist. But I don't necessarily want to get in too much into that just yet.
All right. What did you come up with, like a character name or anything? Let me go ahead and get my my note-taking device up here.
I've been toying with a few ideas. Not really picky. I definitely want to do like your classic like superhero alliteration, like your Wally West or like your Miles Morales, whatever. That's sort of for whatever reason the pair of M's seem to be the most frequently occurring idea. But I don't have a specific decision as of yet.
Okay.
Open to suggestions if anybody feels like throwing something out.
Did you at least have like a... Well, we kind of already decided that your character is going to be running off of the pinnacle that we came up with. So for hero name, did you want to use that name?
He probably won't have a hero name at first,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you. This is a fairly recent development in his life, I would say.
Mm-hmm. How long would you say it happened?
Oh, maybe a couple of weeks. Long enough to meet the team, I suppose.
Okay, so this game is going to be... can I get the pencil sharpener for me? The game, when it starts, is kind of under the assumption that your characters have been a team for at least a couple of months.
Okay.
So...
we can roll with that.
yeah, so roll with that. Would you think your character still kind of hasn't come up with a hero name to go with what's inside of them, or if they're still taking over that?
That's still going to be a point of argument, I feel.
Okay.
Between the
So
two.
just for, I guess, the people that are listening and then the other folks here, what we decided with John is that he's going to be a character with a former hero kind of embodiment like in him. So much like Venom from the Marvel series or Blue Beetle from DC, it's not fully going to be in John's control. He's got kind of a second entity inside of him. So what it is a character that we as a group came up with called Pinnacle, who's kind of like the superhero of this game. Or Superman, kind of like the end-all, be-all, the hero's hero kind of character who died.
The pinnacle of characters.
Exactly, right? The name was fitting, right? His name fit his death. So the character had died in an event that we came up with, and we'll kind of get into that when we do backstory next time. And since then, the pinnacle has been jumping kind of from person to person, and John is just the latest in that line. So far, we hadn't really decided yet if every character that took on the Pinnacle name as well. So I guess that would be up to what do you guys think would be a good way to go with that, since John's still kind of like thinking about it.
So
Do you think
he's not directly after he's like there's been other people that have been Pinnacle before?
Yeah. So there was the main Pinnacle, and then we'll say there was, I don't know. What do you think, John? How many? Like 2? Maybe like 12 of them have died? I don't know. It's up to you.
Oh, let's see. I don't have my notes. Pinnacle was which generation? It's I wish I'd brought some dice. I'd roll you a number.
Yeah, Pinnacle was the original core hero.
Okay, so
Right.
way back when.
Yeah, the true core.
At least 2 or 3 attempts to find a suitable, for lack of a better word, host per generation, perhaps. I don't know, maybe a half dozen to a dozen, something like that.
Okay.
Whatever it is, this object, this heirloom that people, it just makes its way into people's paths. It doesn't always stick with said person that finds it.
Did you want to make it like is there kind of like the Pinnacle curse where actually everybody's died
That
in one way or another, or that's just been passed on in some other way? Maybe it's been taken.
might not be a bad idea.
You don't have to whisper, Walter.
That, or as far as like if anybody's, deemed unsuitable, it leaves them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Or the curse is an interesting idea. I'm not opposed to that necessarily.
Okay. So we'll expand a little bit more on that next time. We hadn't actually come up with any powers for Pinnacle when we came up with him. Did you have any ideas of what you wanted Pinnacle / yourself to do?
I do like if personality-wise I'm trying to run with the delinquent. Are we talking the moves or the abilities?
Abilities.
Definitely into the teleportation. And then I wanted to ask for some clarification because I don't have the actual, like the full book. If you could give me some of the finer points of like the power negation or like the illusions or
So
psychic weapons. I kind of understand how that
Okay.
works from the other.
yeah, so psychic weapons is going to be more like not necessarily Green Lantern, which is hard light constructs. Think more Psylocke from X-Men.
Okay.
And then illusions, kind of easy. Think Loki from
Okay.
the Thor movies. And power negation. Did you ever see X-Men 3 Last Stand?
Oh, the kid from the room.
Yeah.
In where were they? Alcatraz.
Yeah, wherever. I don't remember what they called it. But yeah, that's power.
The one they were basing the cure off of. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
power negation. Yep.
Now-
So he can turn off other people's powers.
Is that in a controlled sense, or is that yet to be known? Because he was just
Maybe
kind
you-
of by proxy, like.
Yeah, it emanated from him. Or like, did you ever watch the show that came out last year, the X-Men show? Man, I cannot remember the name of it.
Was it animated or was it a?
No, it was live action. There was Legion that came out a couple years ago, and then there was on the Gifted. The Gifted. Did you watch The Gifted
No.
last year? Oh, okay. Well, there's a character that could like turn it on and off.
Oh,
So,
nice.
what are you thinking might fit your character more? Maybe it's like maybe they're not in. I mean, your character is pretty young. Everybody's going to be around 16, 17, that kind of age. Maybe they're just not in full control of it yet. What are you thinking? Or is that, unless that's a power you didn't want to go with?
Right now I'm actually just looking at the advancement section, see if I can take an extra later, or if it's just the 2 that I start with or the 2 that I have.
Honestly, I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier. I'm not going to tie you guys to the abilities that are in here. If there's something that you wanted even before you looked at the delinquent, we can just do that. I don't care.
Definitely teleportation. That's going to come in handy. I'm kind of between. The whole bottom row looks good. Can we go back to this?
So teleportation, and then maybe we could try to figure out another one.
What does the bottom row say?
So it's illusions, psychic weapons, and power negation.
Yeah, those are
Be
the 3.
I'm sorry, guys. I should have done more
Yeah.
homework.
I'm on your same boat.
And like I said, if you don't want to do any of those 3, if it's just something else that you had an idea of, like, oh, I also want to be able to shoot webs. Okay, well, then we'll just do shooting webs. I don't care.
Out your butt.
Butt rope.
Yeah.
But
Brilliant.
that's too close to another word.
Okay. What else do we need to cover so far?
Let's cover what your character looks like.
Ooh.
do they just look like you?
Pretty damn close.
All right, so
torn
like
up jeans, probably a band shirt.
5'1", pink hair.
Yeah, that's it.
Gauges.
Do you have a picture from when you were 16 or 17, John, that we could look at?
Oh, we don't want to see that.
All right. Can somebody pull up John's MySpace, please?
Oh, it's probably.
It's out here.
Are those servers still live? Is that still out there?
It
I don't know.
is.
Mine
it
is, I
is.
think.
It is.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I occasionally check back every once in a while to see if like all the Scarface animations will slow down my computer still.
Basically, what I need for John is I need to see a picture of him without his beard, because there's no way you had that beard when you were 16 or 17, John.
No.
No.
He was
none
born
of us
with it.
did. I mean, Walter's little like pencil mustache I can kind of see for him at 16 or 17, but yeah.
I had to change.
Was there anything specific that you wanted your character to look like? Is your character
probably not anything that
is your
outwardly
character a dude?
stands out? Yes. Yeah. I have said he that much.
What age?
Oh. 17.
17.
Somewhere
Okay.
in there.
White guy.
Yeah.
White guy. I'm gonna write white guy.
It will probably loosely be based on myself.
Okay.
I'll have a more refined for you when I come in, because I've actually done more work thinking into a backstory than I have the actual appearance.
The
of
actual
character.
appearance. Okay. Well, how about what your character kind of looks like while they're being a hero? Anything?
Nothing too out of the ordinary. You and I had played. Is that your end or my end? The headphone.
It's got to be yours, because I'm fine.
Okay. All right. There we go. Similar to like the aura idea that we had played with previously, which I kind of like playing into either the psychic weapons or the illusions.
So your character, when in like hero mode, kind of gives off an aura. Like when they're walking around, they don't really have it, but he just kind of like Dragon Ball Z's
like
an
the
aura
Super
around
Saiyan
him.
glow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
We'd even considered the possibility of it having a pinnacle-esque image to it.
Right. Oh, right. We did talk about that. So, like, maybe as he's fighting, for example, like in a comic book, he can, like, let's say he's in the middle of a punch or something. It'll kind of, you'll see both the original Pinnacle and his character at the same time, like not next to each other, like kind of overlapping almost.
Yeah.
But so we'll say that, and that's kind of what you wanted them to see in real life, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
I don't know how defined that'll be, whether you can actually place the face.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I mean, yeah, I understand. I understand what you mean. You'll like make me look a little beefier or something, right? But it'll be kind of like an overlay on you. It'll be kind of like almost like Pinnacle's ghost, basically, is like doing all your actions.
essentially.
Yeah,
But
that's
I mean,
cool.
otherwise, no real costume or anything. He doesn't necessarily need a secret identity. He thinks himself to be a badass of sorts. Like it's not.
Mhm. So maybe like Pinnacle is kind of vying for you to call yourself Pinnacle, but you're still just kind of like going by your own personal name. Like, do you have a secret identity?
He wouldn't as of yet. No, this is as recent a development as we can make it and still have it make sense in context.
So so when he's going out and fighting, he's not fighting as John. Like people aren't like, hey, look, that's John, or whatever your character's name is.
See, he would be, but it may possibly be obscured.
Yeah, by the
Just
by the whole Pinnacle
by the
thing.
glow. Yeah.
Okay, so the aura basically protects your secret identity.
Sure.
Okay,
Sounds good.
I like that idea. I think that's really cool. I think that's badass.
Yeah, I don't think he's fully accepted. What's the word I'm looking for? He's
His destiny, not necessarily destiny, but that kind of like.
kind of sort of. He doesn't. While Pinnacle might think he's a ideal host or something like that,
If you need to raise the microphone, by the
I
way.
actually might, because I keep like
Leading down into it.
Yeah, go ahead and just you just obviously raise it.
I might get a big bunch of noise.
Would you say that the pinnacle is like a possession?
Of sorts.
Yeah, we haven't. We had been talking about kind of like in the way that Venom, the actual symbiote, will take over for Eddie Brock, where it's not Eddie Brock controlling his actions at all. We kind of told what we had been talking about was instead of a bad guy taking over his actions, it's the good guy, Pinnacle, will sometimes kind of, he'll just let Pinnacle take full control and then
So they haven't necessarily solidified that relationship. So what's it? Reyes would be fighting the Beetle while he's in the suit or out, or like Banner and the Hulk. They're always, who's in control here, who's got the wheel, or the Venom example, very much the same. So he's not. Whatever reason, Pinnacle sees something in him that makes it worth his time, but it hasn't really. He hasn't given into that yet, per se, and accepted that guidance. He still wants to
do his own thing.
I didn't ask for this kind of thing.
So you can't make mom. You're not my mom. You're not my real dad.
That's the idea. Tell me how to live my life.
You're not my real dad. Oh, you're already predicting the story.
Uh-oh.
I'm just gonna. I don't think I was gonna make Pinnacle his dad. I do have a really cool idea for Pinnacle, by the way. It's actually gonna be pretty badass. So, what about your delinquent moves? What did you had you looked at any of the moves? Anything kind of jump out at you? This one I will tell you to choose 3.
Okay.
You gotta choose 3 of these.
Choosing 3 of these. I had gone over them briefly. I'm sorry. I've been trying to prep for a trip out of town and everything else going on. I like Criminal Mind.
So Criminal Mind is when you assess the situation, you can always ask one of the following questions, even on a miss. And the questions are: what here is useful or valuable to me? How could I best infuriate or provoke blank? And what's the best way in / way past? And that's the Criminal Mind move. Anything else you've been looking at, maybe?
Excuse me. I was trying not to burp into the microphone. I like the idea of don't care what you think. When you reject influence, add 2 to your roll. That just seems like it would come in handy eventually. Oh no, it just jumped all the pages.
Why do you think your character would reject somebody's influence? Like, give me an example of what if somebody did have influence over you and you were rejecting it, why would you want to reject it? Why would you not care what that person thinks? Give me an example.
That's a very situation.
Or why would your
That's hard to give you just a rough. I don't know. Advice has not always served well in the past.
Yeah.
We'll
What would your character see as like something if somebody was telling him to do something or be somebody? What, like, if somebody was telling him to be a hero, would he reject that? If somebody was telling him to be a bad guy, would he reject that?
Not necessarily. He's more on the, like, he's out there like tagging signs and doing this kind of thing. So if say Pinnacle is the influence, and he's out just having a fun Friday night kind of thing, just stirring up trouble for the sake of trouble.
And Pinnacle told him like not to drink that beer. That's unbecoming of a hero, right? Yeah, you tell him I don't care what you think. You kind of reject that influence. All right.
And then as a third one, sorry, I'm reading through them real quick.
That's totally fine. Criminal Mind. What was it? Oh, I don't care what you think.
It's either going to be Troublemaker or Watching Closely, and I'll take all the input I can get on which 2 you think these ought to be. So Troublemaker, when you help a teammate through destructive, criminal, or rule-breaking actions, you can give them a +2 instead of a +1 when you spend a team from the pool. So that's going to occur a little less frequently than Watching Closely, I think, because I don't know how often we'll remember to get into the team pool, let alone how many points we'll have on an average game.
Or how many times your team's actually going to want to do something destructive, criminal, or rule-breaking.
Well, destructive I could see occurring every now and then.
All right. You guys are new heroes, after all. You're not quite used to not...
It doesn't have to intentionally be destructive.
We all saw Man of Steel. We saw Man of Steel.
That, or Are You Watching Closely, is when you mislead, distract, or trick someone, roll plus superior. On a hit, they're fooled, at least for a moment. And on 10 or more, choose 3. On 7 to 9, choose 2. So you get an opportunity. You can expose a weakness or flaw, confuse them for a while, or avoid further entanglement. On a miss, you're hopelessly embroiled in it and under pressure, market condition. So it'll probably be Stage Fright. It'll be Are You Watching Closely?
You want to do that? Okay.
That'll be good.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to we'll move on to Meg. All right. So, Meg, what was the class that you ended up going with?
I chose to go with the Outsider.
And what intrigues you about the Outsider? What do you think makes you want to play that character?
I always like just choosing a different character, and if I go with Skyrim, usually I go with the orcs or the in D&D I like gravitate to the tieflings. I just really like unusual characters that are just a little bit different than what I am every day. So I'm always attracted to those kind of characters.
Okay, that's awesome. Did you end up coming up with a name for your character?
Yes, I was between Kip, as in KYP, or
Edgy.
Ula, but I think I like Kip
You do Kip? Okay.
better.
So tell us a little bit about what your character, like, are they a monster or are they an alien? What?
I chose to go with the classic gray alien, like the just the big head, bulbous, or like the alien shaped black eyes, no white or coloring or anything. They're just kind of a little creepy. According to, I went to the UFO museum in Roswell, New Mexico. Science, and I saw a poster saying, of all the different kinds of aliens that there are, and I really liked the classic gray, which and they're like around 4'9", so it's a little more petite, a little small, and I'd say a little bit, I guess,
Androgynous?
Androgynous, yes.
As a people, right? That's what we came up with, is that your people are kind of androgynous, but your character was drawn more towards girly stuff, right?
Yes, more feminine type dress, but just kind of dresses a little bizarre because it's not as, fluent in the culture and everything.
Mm-hmm. Did you come up with a hero name for your character?
Well, I was going to bounce around some ideas, but I don't know if I feel most comfortable with the alien, but we kind of thought about that probably being what people would say.
I think
the alien's here, and
I think did you come up with a name for your species? Because that just might be whatever that name is.
I'm terrible with names, so I was going to have some brainstorming with everybody. If anybody has any ideas or cool names for the species name or the planet name, because I couldn't really come up with anything too good.
Yeah, like what would be a cool name for? We'll just kind of toss it at the table. What would be a cool name for an alien species?
Maybe Ziffo?
Ziffo?
Yeah.
The Ziffo?
I like
The Ziffolk?
The Ziffolk.
The Ziffolk. The folk.
Ziffolk.
How would you spell that, Walter? What do you think?
With
With a bunch of extraneous apostrophes?
too many umlauts. XIPHO.
So the Ivan is Xiphos
Yeah.
without the S.
Yeah. Yes.
Literally, that's what you were thinking of, wasn't it?
It's the closest thing I could come up with on the spot right now.
Yeah. So, do you think that should be her? What do you think? Are you thinking that for your race? Or are you thinking that for your planet? Because
That
then
sounds like a good race name.
I was
or the
like, if
species name.
so was
Actually, change it to an F.
an F.
Yeah. Ziffo. Short.
So
Xifo.
Yeah.
Ziffo.
Yeah.
I like that.
So the Ziffo is the people. What would be the planet? Because I was actually, when you said Ziffo, I was like, well, what if Ziffo was the planet and you're Ziphoids?
Ziphoids.
Ziphoids. I was like, I don't know.
Ziphoids.
I'm down with
Ziffolks.
that. Ziffolks.
Ziphians.
Ziphians.
Mm.
That sounds
That'd be
kinda
cool.
nice.
And then your character name would be the Ziphian.
The Ziphian. I'm cool with that. Would you spell
Ivan
it
is Ziphian.
Xiffion? Ziphian? I don't know.
How do I,
What do you think, John?
I think the way she's got it works.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
trying to think of another.
I was thinking EN instead of AN, but Ziphian or Ziphan. Whatever
I'm
works.
just trying to think what we can combine phonetically to replace letters there.
Z.
Two Z's? Two X's.
ZY.
So they're asleep.
It
The asleep
definitely
people.
needs some weird apostrophes and,
Put it over the O.
hats.
So what-
Accent the O.
Accent the O.
Because what if it was? So what are we at right now?
Zipho.
XIFO
XI
is the name of your
FO.
people.
apostrophe O or And
That's
XI
an accent. You sounded like a Chow from like Sonic Adventure 2.
and XIFFIEN, Ziphian.
Mm-hmm.
The Ziphian.
I've been a Ziphian.
Good.
Cool. So you got your, and then so did you want that to be? I just had thought of that as an idea. Did you want that to be your hero name, the Ziphian, and then your people are the Ziffo, but Ziphian? Whoa, wait, no, Ziphian was the people, right? And then Ziffo was the planet, or Ziphian was the name? I already got lost.
Ziffo
was
is
the
the
planet.
planet.
Ziffo is the planet. Okay, and then Ziphian is the name of the people.
Yes.
Okay,
I like that, the Ziphian.
cool.
Can you your alien be French? So it can be Ziphion.
Ziphion.
Every once in a while, like maybe my costume is a beret. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going with that.
Beret. All right. So we kind of talked a little bit. What do you think your abilities would be?
I was really leaning towards camouflage, or not necessarily camouflage. It could be like a Mercury type, I guess.
Like that liquid metal kind of look, that kind of
Yeah.
like, it almost like secretes from your body, but
Yes.
kind of forms what you need it to.
Exactly.
Like a Silver Surfer kind of.
Yeah,
Kind
I was
of, but it
thinking
can-
when she was describing it to me, I was thinking, what is it, Terminator 2, the liquid metal
Okay.
just kind of comes out of her body and then forms what it needs to, right? What do you think? What do you think, John? Like, you kind of get what I'm describing, right?
I mean, that's a badass take on it. Yeah, absolutely.
So I was thinking it could have a couple of functions. Either it could make her invisible in a way, but if you're looking directly, it would look distorted. So it's not perfect invisibility, but it's like a camouflage. Or it can be used as like a shape shifting type thing, or like a disguise, because I wanted it to be there are aliens here, but they're in hiding because they're not really accepted. So they put on their like layer to look like humans to hide. So
Kind of like in Scooby Doo, like in
Yes.
Mr. Alien.
and then they just they tear it away.
Yeah.
You know? And I wanted to make some limits on it. I don't want it to be just something that just
Yeah, so go ahead and take the D ring off, you fucking hipster. Can hear your
There is no
keys.
D ring. Just a bottle, a little bitter.
little bottle.
What? That is a D ring.
What is
Prepared.
That's a D ring.
that clip?
Yeah, the carabiner clip is a D ring. Yeah. All right, we'll just slam it on the plastic table. Okay.
Hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
So I wanted it to be a little bit limited, so it takes a lot of energy to do it, to
Yeah.
create that, so it could maybe only be used once every day or every other day. Also, I wanted to,
And that was on the list. It's radical shape shifting.
yes.
I guess that would be considered that.
I guess I'm taking more than, well, not really.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at this. If you look at it right above it, it says abilities. You can fly, and you're pretty tough. So your character can fly if you wanted to. If you don't want to fly, well, then you don't have to. But they kind of give you that like almost as like a free power,
Okay.
basically, is that your character can do that.
I was
Actually, I
thinking maybe
didn't
that
even.
could be like a spacecraft type thing. Like that would be the flying ability.
Uh-huh.
And that could be the Kirby craft, as that's like one of the three moves.
Mm-hmm. That you take later is the Kirby craft. And Kirby, by the way, I know it kind of comes to everybody's mind at first. It's not Kirby like from the video game Kirby. It's Jack Kirby, the comic book artist who created a bunch of stuff, and a lot of characters he created had like extraneous ships and things like that.
See her, I was envisioning her on like a glowing star.
That's when I
that's
first
amazing.
read it too. That's what jumped in my head, and then I started to think about it more. I was like, oh, duh, Jack Kirby. Yeah.
I
So
actually see your book for a moment.
yes, you can. There you go. You should also just buy one. Masks available on magpiegames.com, I think is the website. I don't know.
Are you
It's like-
advertising?
Of course I'm advertising. We're playing the game, aren't we?
You can Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can Google and find anything.
Yeah.
Smash that
excuses.
like button.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to have alien weaponry.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and describe that a little bit?
All right, so I wanted our people to not be the typical, everybody thinks aliens are here to, just blast and disintegrate people. And I
It's
don't
cool.
think
You can say probe on mic. I know you wanted to.
probe. That's a misconception. We don't probe. But I wanted it to be like a ray gun that steals kinetic energy, like as if maybe a enemy or a car were coming at us. I could blast it, and it would halt the vehicle, and then steal the energy that could be stored and used somewhere else. Maybe like push it back, or I don't know. We could brainstorm what would be best, but I thought it'd be cool. Like, I don't want it to be super violent. I want my character to be
Sort of passive, right?
a little more passive. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I really like that idea. Keeps them from like blowing stuff up, right? And exactly your character. We talked about it a little bit with Meg's character. She's gonna, and we'll get into it more when we do the backstory stuff. But her character's kind of an ambassador for her people. Her people are kind of like brand new to Earth, and they're kind of sort of in hiding right now. And she's kind of coming out to say, like, hey, we're here and we're not dicks, basically, right? Kind of a simple way to say it. Is that right, Meg?
Make people be more comfortable and familiar with us. We're good guys. We're fine. And then to convince my people to not be afraid. They feel like they can be themselves and not hide anymore.
So how often does your character kind of like camouflage up then? Would you say they're like not very, since she's trying to kind of like maybe when she's in a big crowd, she kind of like is an alien, but when she's like in small groups of people, she's not afraid to kind of like let that guard down?
I'd say yes. I'd say in general, maybe in general activity, maybe going to the mall or going to the grocery store, maybe she would have her disguise on and just to be more comfortable to, that type of thing. But
yeah, basically just to not create a riot. But if she's just like, if she's just like in a small group of people, then yeah, she's not afraid to. She's not doing it as a secret identity. She's just doing it not to cause a mass panic when she, goes to the ladies' room or something, right?
Yes. Also, I kind of wanted to see what you guys thought. Maybe one of y'all's characters would be the one that would have accepted her. Maybe it discovered that she was an alien in hiding and been like, hey, you don't have to hide and, do your
And
thing.
so when we get into relationships, when we do backstory, that would be where that comes in. So after we're done today's session, if you guys want to all talk amongst yourselves about the relationships part of the book, that's where that will, or the playbooks, that's where that will tie in. Cool. So let's go on to outsider moves. What kind of moves were you thinking? Looks like you get to choose 3 of them. One we already got down, right? Kirby craft?
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and describe what you think your Kirby craft would look like?
Well, this says you have to choose 2 strengths and 2 weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking just the typical space craft, or like the flying saucer would be fast and maneuverable, as a strength, fast and maneuverable, and chameleon plating. So to be able to be invisible.
Is the chameleon plating similar to what you do?
Yes.
Like so the chameleon plating of the ship mimics what you as a physical being can do, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's really cool.
And I chose unarmed for its weakness and had to pick one more. So there's either bizarre fuel source, susceptible to blank. So I would have to pick something like that. Easily detectable, which that kind of negates the camouflage, so that's out. Slow and clumsy is not possible. Since
Well,
we chose
easily
fast.
detectable could be you've got chameleon plating, but it could be loud, right? So let's say you take your ship somewhere and you land it, and then it chameleons up. Well, it's not going to be very loud while it's chameleoned, but I'm just giving you an example of if you wanted to choose easily detectable, or let's say it's not very loud, but it easily shows up on radar.
Okay.
Right. So I'm just saying it's not necessarily going to, the slow and clumsy, the next one, that one, if you're fast and maneuverable, you're not slow and clumsy.
Right.
You can't really do both of those at the same time, but don't be afraid to choose easily detectable. We can all figure out a way, or I'll figure out a way to make it work in the fiction.
Okay. And then there's also difficult to repair, which I'm kind of leaning towards that one. Like if it were to get pretty badly hit, it would probably take a time to fix it, to get a group of aliens together to repair the ship. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that.
You do that one, difficult to repair?
Unarmed and difficult to repair.
Cool. So we got the Kirby craft down, and you have 2 other moves that you can choose.
I chose alien tech, which that would kind of be like the gun
Mm-hmm.
or the kinetic stealing gun.
And the alien tech is actually a move,
Oh.
right? So when you create when you alter a human device with your alien technology, you roll plus freak. On a hit, you create a device that can do something impossible once, then fizzle, which means it can basically do whatever you want it to do. When you roll a 10 plus, choose 1. It works really well, which means I won't give you any downsides. And you can use it more than once. You can use the impossible thing twice. On a miss, the device works, but has a completely unattended side effect that the GM will reveal when you use it. And that could be anything. It could blow up and reveal your position somewhere. You could use it, but you drop it and somebody finds it later. That's just a couple examples of unintended side effects that the GM can come up with. So if you do choose alien tech, the alien tech isn't necessarily the alien. It doesn't tie to the alien weaponry that you chose earlier. Alien tech is its own move.
Okay.
So let's say your people know how to hack something, right? And you're like, okay, I'm going to hack this computer. You're altering a human device, right? Whether it be with your ability or let's say you happen to have a little technology thing that you just like plug into it. It can do something impossible once, which means it can do the hacking thing that you want it to do. But the unintended is somebody was able to figure out that you actually hacked it, and they could figure out that it wasn't, let's say it wasn't done through human. They can kind of figure out that maybe an alien did something. That'd be an example of how the alien tech move could work.
Okay. Yeah, I really like that.
You
So I'm
wanna
going
do
to
that?
stick with that.
Cool. Alien tech is a great way to go.
And the only one that kind of resonated with me, if I were to pick a third, would be Not So Different After All.
Awesome. So go ahead and read out what that does.
This says, when you talk about your home, roll plus freak. On a 10 plus, choose 2. On a 7 to 9, choose 1. During the conversation, you either confess a flaw of your home, add 1 team to the pool, mislead them about your home, take influence over them, or describe the glories of your home, clear a condition. On a miss, you inadvertently reveal more about yourself than you planned, and you tell them a secret or a vulnerability you haven't shared with Earthlings before now.
Cool. So you want to go with that move?
Yes.
Awesome.
Going with it.
Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to Walter.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? You sleeping over there?
Trying to.
Text him. I saw it.
Actually, no.
All right. Let me pull up that playbook on my phone since I don't have it on my computer right now.
Which one are you working with?
We're gonna be doing the Reformed for him.
I was once a villain, but I'm trying to change my ways. Ish.
Yeah, let me pull
Oh,
it
that's
up real
not on the
quick.
main list. It's the extra ones.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I have to pull. That's why I have to pull it up on my phone and not my computer. Since we're at work, my computer's not connected to
The
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi here. So it's like I don't have it in my computer already, so I can't just like pull it up. You know. So and the internet sucks out here, so it's like
That it
taking
does.
taking a little while to
Do you
load.
want a hotspot?
Huh?
Do you want a hotspot?
Will it suck like? I mean, Walters is literally the only one I need it for, and it's almost done loading.
Okay.
So yeah, the bowl is on my computer. So yeah, that would have been great to know a little while ago.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Gosh, Kyle.
You've been pretty quiet. For the next one, Walter, I want Kyle to kind of help out with your character because Kyle's kind of been quiet all day.
All right.
Okay.
Let's
Cool.
do it.
Cool. Teamwork.
So start from the beginning. What's your character's name?
I've debated on like let me pull up my notes real quick.
Hernando.
Orlando.
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 I've settled on
colorblind?
Edstil.
Edstill? How would you spell it?
EZTIL.
Easy enough. EZTIL. Okay.
D or
Uh,
T?
EZTIL.
And what playbook are you going to be choosing? Pull up.
What is playbook again?
You're the Reformed.
Yeah. Sorry.
Your class, basically.
Yeah, the Reformed.
Okay. What's kind of pulling you in about the Reformed? Why do you want to play that type of character?
Well,
the Reformed is a character that is a former villain, pretty much.
Yeah, former villain trying to become a hero.
Do some good.
So, with the whole hero school thing, I thought it'd be kind of interesting to have a villain, an ex-villain going into a hero school to change up the dynamics of like what's going on and how well that school can operate and change himself.
So why do you think your character would want to be? Well, actually, we'll get that. We'll get to that when we do a bit more of the backstory then. But that's what's drawing you to the character of the Reformed, right?
Yep.
So why don't you talk about a little bit about what your character
looks like
is just in general? Because your characters, you were going to go with a different species as well, too, right?
Yeah. Basically, what my people come from underground the earth. Not a lot of people have heard of it, like next to none.
All right, you hipster.
My character kind of looks like a pale olive green. The big ass nose. He kind of wears like dark hoodie, jeans.
You're thinking like a goblin-esque type of character, right?
But like kind of keep it humanish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mostly humanoid features. It's just like
big ass nose.
Big nose. Does he have pointed ears? Maybe not. I mean, that's a typical goblin.
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
typical. No, but I'll say he kind of has a big nose and kind of like big eyes.
Big old schnoz and big eyes. Okay.
And like kind of like thinning out hair.
Oh, Meg, real quick. There's one thing I did forget. Let's go back to Meg real quick. Age.
I would guess around maybe a little younger, maybe 16.
Okay. And that's real time, right? Did you want to do 16 years old real time or 16 years old mentally?
I'd say mentally. Maybe they're a little bit more expanded unless
in
you
longevity.
wanted to go with that.
That's what reminded me about it, but I think it's okay with yours if your character is new to Earth.
Okay.
I think, yeah, we can still do the same thing. Meg wanted her character to be a bit older, but have the mindset, have the mentality of like a 16-year-old kid. And we'll say for real time, I don't know, you just pick any number you want. You can make it 200 if you want, make her 200 if you want to. What would you want to do?
I'd say maybe around 50 or so.
50? Okay.
But
you're stealing all my numbers.
You're going to be 52.
Well, it's too late. You're going to have to pick a new number, Walter.
51.
She got to it first. Maybe remember your paperwork next time.
Next time.
Or I got
You're
the,
not
I
alone,
got
my
the
friend.
second chair.
Biggest influence, the guy across from me.
Yeah. All right. 15 years old, real life. Okay, and then Walter, we'll do that for your character. Did you want to be around the same age, but
I'll be like 17.
17 mentally?
Yep. And then as far as actual age, I'd say around like maybe 65.
65. Okay. Basically, the reason why we're kind of differentiating those is Meg's character is kind of new to the planet, but Walter's character has been around for 65 years. He'll at least be familiar with kind of how the generations worked, the different generations of superheroes. So you guys being older won't really clash or anything because you will have spent the bulk of your time off planet while Walter's character has been on planet and has been able to see what's going around. So we'll still be able to make it work. We won't really have to tie you being 45, 50 in real life really a whole bunch. But it just does kind of give your character a little bit more depth. So I did want to go back to that and bring it up.
And I wanted it to, or it wouldn't be like, I would say they have a very long lifespan, so 50 would be equivalent to being a teen in their species.
Okay.
So.
Cool. And then, so back to Walter. Let's do abilities. Did you pick any kind of powers or anything?
Telekinesis is kind of like off the playbook.
What did you like about telekinesis?
Well, want to be able
you're doing telepathy.
Yeah, telepathy.
Yeah, you can't move. You can move stuff with your mind. You can communicate with other mind. Yeah, okay.
Be able to like, I guess, like able to understand and translate what other people are thinking and saying, and predict other people's moves, and then I guess catch people like her in the shadows.
Right. So you kind of you were kind of using your mind as almost as like a radar at some points,
Yep.
right? Like, can you feel if there's somebody over there?
And
Right.
also I kind of wanted to like obviously have some I guess some consequences to it, like depending how like how often I'm using it. Like for everyday use, just kind of like I'm tolerant to like joking around and just kind of seeing what's around me. But like slight exhaustion for minor battle use, and then like I guess for more, I guess battles like against bosses
Yeah.
would like actually like cause me to like have like nosebleeds, maybe pass out.
If you're using it too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about just kind of give it a real quick why your people are underground. We'll delve into that more when we get to the actual backstory part. But I just kind of want to talk about your character's species a little bit.
And
does your race have a name?
I haven't thought that far yet. So I guess if you guys help me brainstorm a name for my people
The
who
Orlandos.
live underground.
The Orlandos.
Orlando.
Fernandos.
I'm sorry, I have a Corp Kalani song stuck in my head now.
What?
Wooden pints. Yeah.
No, not ringing a bell for me.
There are men underground who have never seen the sun, but they really know how to party. All right, no, don't worry about it.
I'm worrying about it now.
It's drinking metal.
Yeah,
Corporal
kind
Connie's very drinking metal.
of.
Like
A name for your race.
like that would kind of like describe underground but ancient.
And even then, it doesn't have to be a made-up word.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
It could be
the goblins or the hobgoblins or
The hobgoblins.
hobgoblins. Isn't that a
Very
thing?
original.
Hobgoblin.
I don't know.
The Hobgoblin. Yeah, the Hobgoblin's a character from Marvel.
That's a character.
Yeah. Let's think of like some synonyms for underground. What would be?
Like I got my name through an Aztec. Aztec were meaning blood.
Ooh.
Estel.
So let's say, like I said, what's a good synonym for underground? Because it could just be the and then whatever that synonym is.
The downside up.
No.
I don't know, like the buried. Maybe they just call themselves the buried.
The buried might be good.
The
That's really
depths
awesome.
between the buried and me.
Especially, especially with a name draw from like a dead civilization kind of thing. That's maybe something happened there.
Maybe.
Where did all these people go? Who knows?
We've been under you the entire time.
The
buried.
like the Forgotten or something like that.
The forgotten. Wow, that'd be cool. Why are they forgotten then?
Because
Like what pushed them underground in the? Because nobody remembers that.
Yeah,
I
nobody-
know the definition of the word the forgotten. What?
In case you didn't know.
Yeah, like what? That would be raise some interesting questions as to why they got driven underground in the first place.
Maybe we just like it down there, and it's easy to stay hidden.
I kind of like that idea though.
Does
the
that play into the
forgotten.
factions?
It could.
It could play into the factions.
Yeah.
Would the telepathy, would you be able to influence people's thoughts? Would they be able to erase people's memories of their existence?
That's
That's
good one.
cool.
That's good.
So that's why
like Men in
they
Black
are,
style.
right? the neuralizer. That's what
Yeah.
that would. We'll just call your people the neuralizers.
Neurons.
That'd be your hero name, the neuralizer. Like for Men in Black. Shut up.
Hey, you remember how you gonna give me that coffee? No.
Well, then they would forget to get you the coffee.
No.
It doesn't work the other way around. And well,
I
it
could have an influence.
It could. You'd
I
have to
could
roll. I'd have to make you roll for it though. So, what would we choose? Telepathy, right? That's the
Yep.
power we chose from that list. And then, where in abilities it says you're young, but you've been around for a few years before switching teams. You know how to fight, but you're known for one ability more than any other. Choose one. And
Smoking
so,
blunts.
there's a couple that are listed here: poison, venom, or acid control, weapons and martial expertise, ferrokinesis, which I'm pretty sure ferro. What is that? Ferro, like iron? Iron control, maybe? I can't remember what ferro means.
Ferrofluids, yes.
Yeah.
It's magnetic.
Oh,
metals.
magnetic. Okay, that's what it would be. Magnetic. And then vitality absorption, like a vampire, basically. Fear manipulation, which if we're going to give you telepathy, that'll be kind of, that's close enough.
Yep.
And then geokinesis is pretty awesome. It's pretty self-explanatory. That's basically Toph from The Last Airbender.
Okay.
She can control
But she's
rocks and
blind.
earth and stuff. Well, you're colorblind, Orlando. So let's move on to the reformed moves.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got right there reformed moves. You can choose 2 of those. What were you kind of thinking for those?
I like the wrong side of the tracks. That's something I liked a lot. Just kind of being able to, I guess, pierce the mask, as it says on the book.
Yeah, go ahead and read it out loud.
Wrong side of the tracks. You always get to ask an additional questions when you pierce the mask of a villain, even on a miss. Period. When you pierce the mask of a hero, you add this question to the list. What's your darkest moment?
And pierce the mask is a mechanic in this game that is essentially you're trying to figure out what somebody's true intentions are. So if Walter was to roll to figure out what the true intentions of a villain are, he can ask an additional question from the Pierce the Mask list, which I don't have that paper in front of me, but it's a list of set questions. So if he, even if he fails, he's able to ask an additional question. He's able to ask at least one question. When you pierce the mask of a hero, you can also choose to add the question, what was your darkest moment? And when he asks that, when he's asking questions, he asks them out of character, basically. He's asking me, the GM. He's not asking the player that he's talking to, or excuse me, the NPC or PC that they're talking to, right? So let's say if he does want to pierce one of your masks, though, it'd be Walter asking Kyle out of character about Kyle's character, though. It wouldn't be Etzel asking. I don't know. We haven't gotten to you, Kyle, yet. You're a bad example.
Why is he a bull? What's your true intention?
It wouldn't be Etzel which is Walter's character, asking Kyle's character directly. It'd be out of character. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
What were the other? How many do you get to choose as a reform?
2, I believe.
2. Okay. So what was the other one?
I'm stuck between either do me a favor or not so different.
Go ahead and read those out loud.
Not so different. I think Meg also had the same one. When you provoke someone to criminal or villainous actions, you can use danger instead of superior.
So Meg's is a little different. Meg's is not so different after all, right? So it's a slightly different move. It doesn't work. It doesn't scale with provoke somebody. Provoke somebody is an action. Hers isn't really based off an action. Hers is just kind of like talking in conversation in general. Whereas provoke somebody, you'll see it's kind of bolded because that's an actual move. So when you're doing or action, excuse me, is an action. So when you're provoking somebody, if you're doing this one specific thing, which is to provoke somebody to criminal or villainous action, then you can scale with danger instead of your superior. So it doesn't work exactly. It's got the same half of the same name as Meg's, but it does work in a completely different way.
Okay.
So and then what was the other one you were thinking about?
Do me a favor.
Go and read that one.
When you go to an ordinary civilian, for a favor roll plus mundane on a 10+, they'll lend you a hand on a 7 through 9. And they need a promise up front on a miss. You catch them up in a superpower nonsense and they suffer for it.
And in this case, catch them up means you wrap them up in. It says catch them up. It's not catch them up as in he's telling them what happened. It's catch them up as in that person is now involved in whatever.
I just wanted a soda.
Yeah, exactly. Now that person is involved
dead.
in some superpowered nonsense just because he went to the vending machine to grab a Java monster when he should have been grabbing an Arizona instead.
I don't know about that.
Both are those. Well, actually, Arizona. I actually like Arizona.
So which one did you want to do?
I'm stuck between both.
Go for the monster.
Go for the
monster.
For all these haters on Java Monsters, I don't know how they keep running out in the vending machine. People are secret.
It's like
Java
Nickelback
Monster
records,
users.
right? People are like,
They have them
Nickelback is
downstairs?
terrible, but they still sell out.
Metal
Right.
Zones.
They haven't stocked that upstairs in months. What is okay?
It's because all that's going downstairs, my guy.
For the record, for everybody listening, we're all coworkers. We all work in the same building. So
Now
If
you
anyone is
know.
listening out there, please help me.
I'm stuck in this building. So what did you
I don't know. Both of those seem like something I could totally do with not so different. I could totally use with just my mind powers. Just kind of provoke someone
Mm-hmm.
But do me a favor seems kind of like if I'm just trying to change my ways and just kind of like just get a soda.
Yeah.
And then I'll promise you another soda later.
I owe you
I basically.
one soda.
I don't know, but like
What is it? Anybody else at the table have some? What do you guys think?
What would you think would work well with my character?
I like the do me a favor. Well, I don't know if you would need to do that because you can read minds and you can manipulate with that,
But provoking is kind of fun.
it is.
What say you, John?
And it's a move that makes you roll, is it not?
Yeah. Well, do me a favor. Yeah. So when you go to, yep, it is a rolling move.
So how much dice throwing do you want to do?
That's true.
I mean,
that's the way I
it's
would
an
look
odd.
at it.
It's also like an oddly specific thing when you go to an order. It's so he wouldn't be using it when he goes to a hero for a favor, right? He'd be doing it with an ordinary citizen. And I guess in the fiction, it would be
Does
the
that
reason.
include anybody else from the school, or is that like
Yes.
Okay.
I guess in this sense, it's more like people he kind of gives off kind of like this evil, not almost kind of like this evil vibe.
Like an
he's
aura.
so he has to kind of convince people that to do a favor for him, and it could be whether whether through accidental intimidation or not. Right, I guess would be the best way to put it for his character since he's trying to do good, right?
So yeah,
He's trying to roll against accidental, and that could be
just trying to
anything.
prove myself. Like I am a nice guy. Please.
Like you could be asking a cop to help you out right now, and the cop's like, you look like a goblin that I've seen murder people before, so
You look like someone
So
owes
you're
you
trying
money."
to convince them, right? So that'd be cool. Do me a favor does sound pretty cool.
All right.
You want to go ahead and go with that
I'll
one?
do me a favor.
Okay.
What the hell, hero? I didn't understand that one too well.
What the hell, hero is when you call out an injustice that a hero has perpetrated, roll plus danger. On a hit, take influence over them. On a 7 through 9, choose 1. On a 10 plus, choose 2. And the choices are you get them to admit their wrongdoing, you win over an onlooker, take influence over them, you don't turn their attention and anger onto yourself. On a miss, they dismiss you, mark a condition, their choice. Shift danger up and savior down. So when you call it an injustice that a hero has perpetrated, let's say a hero is hauling somebody off to jail for stealing an orange. That's kind of a big punishment to fit a very tiny crime, right? So let's say your character saw that and he's calling out the hero for doing that. It's like, hey, why are you flying that person to jail for stealing an orange? You take a roll. You roll plus danger. On a hit, which is anything 7 and above is considered a hit. So from 7, you take influence over them, which means they're going to care about what you tell them from now on. On 7 through 9, choose 1. So you get to tell, you can make them admit their wrongdoing to you. You can win over an onlooker. So let's say the guy with the orange is now like, hey, yeah, why are you hauling me off to jail for stealing an orange?
It was just an orange.
And you take influence over that person as well. And you don't turn their attention and anger onto yourself. So let's say you chose, you get them to admit their wrongdoing. By the way, that's you clicking, that's getting on the mic.
Oh, sorry.
You get them to admit their wrongdoing, but you don't choose you didn't choose you don't turn their attention hanger onto yourself. They could admit that they're doing it wrong, but they could still be really pissed off at you in general, right? You win over an onlooker. So let's say you do that, you can win over somebody else that's not even involved in the situation.
like someone just viewing it. Just
Yeah,
like, oh.
and that could be anybody ranging from a police officer to somebody who's against the police to a villain that happened to be nearby. It could be if this hero had a girlfriend or like another hero girlfriend or something that was like hey, yeah, why is my boyfriend like being a super dick, right? And hauling that person off to jail for an orange. Those are just some examples of what could happen if you succeed and how not choosing one of the other options could impact you. And then on a miss, they dismiss you, so they don't care. You mark a condition, which is basically kind of like we talked about the hit points: afraid, angry, guilty, hopeless, and insecure. Come on, Walter.
Stop looking at me.
And then shift danger up So you would shift your label for danger up one and shift your savior down, because you're going out of your way to make a hero feel like a dick, and by failing, that person sees you as less of a hero as a result. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
That's definitely kind of risky for the character I'm trying to like change.
Yeah, but it could make for a totally interesting story.
Yeah.
So you still want to stick with Do Me a Favor? Or do you want to switch over to that one?
You know, I'll take the risk. Let's do What the Hell Hero.
What the Hell Hero? Okay, and you want to take off Wrong Side of the Track or take off Do Me a Favor?
Take off Do Me a Favor.
Okay.
Because I still like Wrong Side of the Tracks. Just kind of like, what are you really doing?
Yeah.
I don't understand you.
What
I don't
was
understand.
it? What the Hell Hero? All right, cool. And we'll do just kind of really quick. You have ties to villains from your previous career. Choose 3 names to fill in. Walter's character, the Reformed, underneath his section that says Reformed Moves, he has an extra menu here that's called Friends in Low Places. And it's basically he still has ties to his villain life. And in this case, Walter's villain life is that his people... Talk about a little bit about what your people are known... what makes your people villains.
We steal homeless people and enslave them. Mainly because homeless people are forgotten and they won't be missed.
Ooh, the forgotten, stealing the forgotten. I hadn't even thought about that. That's cool.
So we use them to our advantage to like power, I guess, our buildings, our cities, and make them do like hard labor. So we can thrive. And yeah, that's about it. I didn't really go into more details.
That's fine,
about it.
because we can do that as the entire game goes on. We can build on that. Underneath it says choose 3 names to fill in, and it has a bunch of names already here, but I think those are just suggestions more than anything. So it's 3 names to fill in, and I think in this case we're just going to kind of go with Walter's family.
Yeah.
His family is all part of this, so we're going to wrap it up and what kind of family members is it? Uncle? Is it a grandpa? Is it
mom, dad, and older brother.
Okay. And then each of them have a specialty, but it sounds like it's basically you can have different ones for each of them. By the way, they don't have to all have the same one.
They can all
Each
have
one,
weapons.
each one says specialty: weapons, materials, cosmic artifacts, alien tech. Which, since even though his character's not an alien, it would just be
Techie.
it would be the forgotten tech, I guess, because that's what we're calling his people. But it would be some kind of other species technology, and then insider info. So did you know what you wanted to do?
For mom, definitely cosmic artifacts.
Okay.
My dad, weapons. Gotta have my guns, brother. And brother, insider info.
Okay. And then each after that it says mark 2 obligations on one villain and mark 1 obligation on another. So did you know which one you wanted to do 2 and which one you wanted to do 1?
Definitely insider info for brother, for 1 obligation. And mom too, because mama's boy.
All right.
And plus cosmic artifacts. Come on.
So what it says after that is when you come to them for help with your problems. Actually, Walter, I shouldn't be reading it. You go and read that part.
Let me pull up the thing again. There you go. When you come to them for help with your problems, mark an obligation and they'll help you with your within your specialty. If all their boxes are full, then they won't help you until you help them. When time passes, roll plus your highest obligation. On a 10+, they'll come crashing into your life with a crisis. On a 7 through 9, they'll call for a favor. On a miss, they don't come knocking yet, but mark obligation with them. the debts are getting heavier. When you help one of these villains with their problems, you raise 2 obligations on them.
Cool. So you'll notice a couple things are highlighted on that. When you come to help with them for your problems, which is kind of self-explanatory whenever you want to go back to your family for help. When you help one of these villains with their problems, pretty self-explanatory. That'll be another story we can kind of create if when that comes up. But when time passes, basically it's just, let's say in between missions, I'll say a certain amount of time has passed. I'll say like, oh, a week has passed. Time passes. That's kind of how comic books work, right? They're hardly ever set to a specific date, right? So you just say you kind of assumed in between each issue, time has passed. For certain classes like the Janus and the Reformed, things happen in between that time, and that's what this is. When time passes, roll plus your highest obligation. So you would roll your 2d6 plus 2 for your mom and plus 1 for your brother. If either of them are a 7 through 9, they'll call you for a favor, and we'll dictate that through the fiction. On a 10 plus, they come crashing to your life with a crisis. So basically something real, like it's a big deal. And then on a miss, they don't come, nothing happens, which is under 7. So let's say you rolled a 7 or let's say you rolled an 8. Natural 8, your mom would give you a 10 plus, right? So something happens with your mom, and then on an 8 plus 1 is 9. Your brother calls for a favor, so we would kind of dictate that to the fiction. But you can always go out of your way to say, hey, I want to go help out my brother with something, and then we'll do kind of a little side thing, an aside with you, and that would erase 2 of those obligations with your brother or your mother, or whichever one you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But on a miss, where was it? On a miss, 1 obligation would just get added. So next time you roll for the obligations, you would have 2 now instead of, for the brother, for example, you would have 2 instead of just 1. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Let's go with Ka.
Oh no.
Oh no,
Oh,
it's
no. Hi, Ka.
Ka. All right, so what playbook have you chosen?
I have chosen the bull.
The bull.
Yes.
Go ahead and read aloud what it says next to the right there.
You're big, strong, and tough. You know what fighting really is, and you're good at it. Sure, you've got a soft side too, but you only show that to the people you care about most. Everybody else, they can eat your fist.
Eat your fist. I always thought that was cool.
That's on my Tinder profile.
That's
That's something.
Walter. You have a girlfriend. I'm telling.
I don't care.
I won't have to tell. She'll hear it on this podcast. All right,
She
so
knows.
Kyle's
Dare
the
you.
bull. The bull. Did you come up with a hero name or real name for your character?
Nada.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
Yeah, me too.
I had actually
Go
thought of a
team.
cool name for your character because I knew you had. I'm just kidding. But I had thought of a name, and I wanted to see what you thought of it. If you just named your character Concussion,
Okay.
what do you think about that? Or
Well,
does
it
anybody
works-
else?
It works for the forgetting side of it.
What about knockout?
Knockout. That's kind of cool.
Knockout.
What do you guys think? Any kind of suggestions you want to give to Kyle here?
Help me.
I don't know. Knockout has more of a ring to it than concussion does, I feel.
Yeah,
But
and it does.
He kind of sounds like a wrestler too. Like knockout coming to the stage.
does anybody watch OKKO?
No.
Okay. Well, it's the theme song just started playing in my head.
So you want to do Knockout? You want to go with that?
That's fine. It works.
We could
Plus
even
one
make it, by the
influence.
way. We can put it in the fiction that you didn't come up with your name. Because what was the idea for your that you had for the way your character communicated, or lack of communication?
Well, we had to, forgets how to communicate with people, can understand but cannot communicate with other individuals, and therefore gets angry and rages and whatnot.
So they're fine in the head. They just can't really get their mouth to
Yeah.
follow what their head is doing.
Yeah.
So basically what could happen is the idea that I was just thinking, is that you are kind of going with the name Knockout, but somebody called you Knockout after you got your powers, and you just kind of rolled with it. And you've been going through that ever since. What do you think about that idea?
That works.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't name yourself, and I mean, who came up? Was it John that came up with Knockout just now? No, it was Walter. So we can actually do that. We'll tie it in. We can tie that into your character. That your character came up with the name Knockout, right? We'll just tie that into the fiction. I think that's cool. Does your character have a real name?
Oh, we'll think about that.
Okay.
Steve.
How
Kyle.
old was your character? Just normal age? Isn't
Yeah,
I'm not doing weird age
no,
stuff
no,
like these guys.
no weird,
No age
weird
shenanigans?
age, Yeah, we'll do
Okay.
like 15 or 16, something like that.
You want to do 15?
That
I think it'd be
works.
cool. Make your character a couple years younger than everybody else. I like that idea. Well, I mean, I guess way younger than all those guys, but I guess you think about. I guess in this game, since everybody's a teenager, we're thinking about it more in grade levels, right? So as a 17-year-old, the characters would probably be seniors, 16 a junior. So we'll do 15. You're basically a sophomore to everybody else's seniors.
All right, sounds good.
Sophomer. Okay, I spelled it wrong. I'm just gonna keep it Sophomer. Put MER
Sound it out.
instead. Didn't name himself. Named by Ezekiel. I'm just kidding. Edsel.
Oh shit.
I gave you your name.
What's your character look like?
Also an influence.
No clue. Well, it's my character's a native, so whatever the native people look like in our city.
Brown.
I mean, the city is kind of supposed to be a megapolis. Basically, it's people from all walks of life. So, yeah, I know that doesn't narrow it
That
down for
doesn't.
you.
That does not help.
You got to actually think in this game, Kyle.
I know.
You're of what race?
Well, he said he wanted to be native of, like, let's say we were in Africa, whatever is native to Africa, right?
Okay.
So
But he's a human. Is the
he's
question.
a human, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
He's not like a gray or like a goblin thing.
Goblin underground forgotten thing.
Goatee
Forgotten.
human.
Is your character kind of, because we're talking about a bull, is your character like small
Stocky.
and pretty?
Yeah.
Short and stocky?
Short. Yeah.
It's probably around like, what, 5'4", 5'5", something like that.
That works.
And the bull, unlike the other classes, the bull's abilities, it says someone, what does it say for abilities?
The bull moves. Is that what you're talking about?
Abilities.
Oh.
It's at the bottom of the first page.
Whoops, my bad. Someone or something changed you, made you into a perfect weapon, superhumanly tough, incredibly strong, and uniquely skilled at fighting. Decide how each of those abilities manifests.
So basically it says superhumanly tough. Does your skin naturally look like this, but is super tough? Do you have stone skin? Are you tough that you get scratched or you get hurt, but you have like a healing factor? How would you want to do that?
I like the healing factor.
Healing
I think.
factor? Cool.
So you can just do whatever to your body.
So more a Logan than a Luke Cage. Yeah.
So you,
That's exactly what I was thinking, actually.
but you'll be able to feel it still.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then incredibly strong. Does your character kind of like beef up when he needs to get strong? Does he? Is
I
he
think
just
it would
kinda
use
strong?
the being able to do whatever it wants to himself, and then recovering as like the strength. So you're not necessarily super strong, but
I
you
think
can just throw yourself and.
That's a fun fact. I'm kind of a zombie nerd, so this has been discussed in various books and what have you. And it's also like a medical fact for people that do like PCP or something like that. It's like they can achieve like superhuman feats of strength because there's like a deep brain disconnect telling them not to rip the muscles off the bones. So we're actually a lot stronger than we are. We just have
Receptors,
like a rev
yeah.
limiter. Like we have a safety.
Kind of like that. What's that M Night Shyamalan movie where like with the multiple personalities?
Split.
Split. Yeah, kind of like the last personality where he's like way stronger than every other personality and able to like.
I haven't seen it. I couldn't say, but okay.
But it kind of sounds like that. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
It's actually not bad.
But it is also.
What if you
he's
haven't
drugged
seen
up,
it? Now you
then?
know. All right.
Yeah.
It is also like I read somewhere that you can bite through your finger as easy as you can bite through your carrot, but it just hurts, so you don't do it.
Yeah, you can bite other people harder than you can bite yourself. It's tied to that same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're able to push past that, that'd be kind of neat, I think.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea. So strong because of the healing factor, but it does hurt you.
Yeah, you still feel it.
I feel it.
That's
Mr.
gonna
Krabs.
get rough after a long day. All right.
How did your how did you get these abilities? Have you come up with like a scenario or anything where that happened?
No clue. No.
Okay, so Kyle's character,
Set of heroin.
we need to pick how it happened and how it could have knocked out his ability to communicate. Anybody have any ideas?
So this maybe was an injury that like hurt speech, but also gave you that healing ability. Is it so? It's tied together.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you want to have two separate events. Kyle, did you want to have it all happen at once?
Sure, we can do it both at once. It makes it more simple.
Yeah. And it could be that would tie into the anger a little bit too. It like happened all at once. Like you got these abilities, but you can't even tell people about them. It's kind of hard for you to tell people you're in pain. Maybe be kind of cool.
Will we still have thoughts but in a different language?
No, I think
It's
that's
still the same language.
Yeah,
but the
everything
communication
inside.
is with
Okay, so I can
your
communicate.
character.
Yeah.
I do believe.
He's a for telepathy.
No, it's not necessarily. I thought we were going off of. Were we going off of Walters? Or
Yeah,
were we-
Walters
okay.
was the one that could like.
Okay.
So basically, this idea. Why don't you go ahead and talk? What was the idea we had come up with, Walter?
Like if he ever needed to, like I guess, get something but couldn't really communicate to his team members, I could just read his mind and just translate, or I could fuck with him. So he called you an asshole.
Like in that Robot Chicken sketch.
Where they're in the
In the cantina.
He says he doesn't like you.
What? I didn't say that. I said I liked his haircut. Yeah. I don't like you. Yeah. So that's cool. Oh, I put because of healing factor.
Till
You
he
are not a
throws you
healing
across
factor.
the room, but go ahead.
Yeah. We can go out.
So what was
go out
the
drinking?
yeah? So what was the event that?
Do you think it would be some kind of like some substance that would have gotten into you, or like some accident? That
Substance abuse. Okay.
maybe no. Like you might have
We are
fallen
on the
into some
island.
weird acid, like like Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze,
Some
he
weird
fell
acid
into
Freeze or Daredevil.
the weird acid
Teenage
stuff.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, the
Yeah.
ooze. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, I think they made it like the ooze that changed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is actually the same ooze that
The ooze.
that Daredevil. Like both of those oozes are the same.
Wait, so like he got it at street level and then it just drained in? That's amazing.
Yeah, so they
Alright.
got their power. Like so, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Daredevil got their powers from the same ooze.
That's
I
cool.
think there was like some canon. I think it's like officially canon.
If you
I
can
think.
prove that to be canonical, all right.
I think I remember reading it somewhere. I can't remember what it was though. Like that's why Daredevil fights the hand, and the Teenage
they really
Mutant
have
Turtles fight the.
crossovers?
I don't remember. I
Okay.
don't know if it's made fun of him, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fight the Foot Ninja, and Daredevil fights the hand.
I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
So it is. Yeah, it is kind of tied in. Anyway, sorry, we totally got off
all
tangent
good.
there, but it is like kind of a fun fact. Okay, so what kind of things kind of like naturally heal? That's what you're talking about, right, Meg?
Yes. I'd say lizards.
Most like flowers, starfish, right? Starfish are known for kind of like you cut it off and they can heal. Did you want to have your character tied to that at all?
We can do that. That works.
Okay, so how did they get themselves in that situation, do you think?
I don't know. We can go with a sea nettle. Some sort of prick. I don't know. Stepped on something or
Bitten by a radioactive starfish.
Bitten or ingested. I don't know.
Ingested? That sounds like a cool idea. So what did they ingest? Like a like a solution? Did somebody give them a pill? Did they find like an ad for like, hey, test our product, and it was turned out to give them superpowers? Anything like that? What do you think?
I don't know. I'm thinking.
Wait, okay. I just looked up what animals can regenerate, and apparently spiders can regrow their legs.
Oh,
What?
God.
I'm
I
just
know.
sitting
I
here
know.
thinking
Lizards,
about-
lizards can regrow their tail.
Spider-Man, perfect.
I was just
Yeah.
like, can Peter
That's
Parker?
so upsetting.
A sea cucumber can regenerate everything.
Oh.
Oh, sea cucumber juice.
It's very,
Oh.
very menacing. Yeah, it was a short list. There's like
Not regeneration is not very prevalent in the animal kingdom. But what about? I mean, most plants can regenerate though. So
yeah, that was the first result I got was how a forest regenerate. Yeah, all right.
What about some sort of magical?
It could be magical. What do you want to do?
Some sort of thing like what is it? The Black Panther does, where he eats the.
Oh, what did they call it? I want to say it wasn't called the nightshade. That was something else. Is it the nightshade? I don't remember what it was called, but I know what you're talking
What's something like that?
He ate a plant.
Yeah,
So would you want it to be something he has to continuously eat, or just he ate it once and he's
he
like?
ate it once.
It's good.
And he got the powers.
So how did he?
Like the dragon fruit.
So he like ate a plant and it gave him this ability, this healing factor,
Yeah.
and the extra strength, but it knocked out his ability to talk. We don't have to do. We can do a story reason why it knocked out his ability to talk later.
All right.
But how did he find it?
Well, they bought it.
They bought it.
Yeah.
How did it? Like he bought it like on the black
On
market.
some kind of illegal market. Yeah. We'll go with that.
I mean, he's like a 15.
on purpose.
I was like, yeah, he's like a 15-year-old kid. Like, how did he?
Well,
how
maybe
do you think?
it's like advertised, oh, this will give you superpowers. And you were like, yeah, heck yeah. But then, like, it was maybe backfired.
Like on the
This was an
dark web,
idea.
you're like a little kid, like figured out how to get on the dark web accidentally and found it. You want to do that?
That works. Yeah.
All he found was a web of lies. Found on dark web. Cool. We can expand on that later. Let's go into. Does your character have like a look when he's in like hero mode? Like, did he make himself a costume or anything like that?
No. No. I don't believe so.
So,
No.
how does he protect his secret identity?
Is it really secret? Isn't
It's
he
up
just
to
a
you.
I know. I think he's just a normal individual. Just,
So when he goes out and about, does he just like wear his normal clothes, but kind of
Yeah.
like wears like a domino mask? Domino mask is basically like Robin's mask. That little like, just that old thing. Does he just have one of those when he's out and about, but normal clothes?
that works. Yeah.
You want to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess so.
Normal clothes. Domino mask. Cool. And let's move on to the bull moves. Had you picked 2 moves from the list?
Yes. There when it matters. So when you defend someone on a hit, you can hold 1 instead of choosing one from the list. Spend your hold when they are in danger later to arrive on the scene ready to help.
Okay, and so for that one, basically the fiction we can retcon like fiction real quick to make sure your character was there. So let's say you guys are in the middle of a fight, and Meg is in a different part of the building, but you still have a hold that you've rolled and you've gotten a hold. Let's say she's in a different part of a building and she fails something or
Okay.
needs to be protected from something. You can just automatically activate your hold and you're there when it matters. You somehow will dictate the fiction real quick to say that you got there just in time to do whatever it needs to do.
Okay. That works.
And then you get to pick one more.
Physics. What physics?
Cool. Go ahead and read that one.
When you unleash your powers to barrel through an insurmountable barrier, roll plus danger instead of plus freak.
Cool. I like that one. So your danger is the label that scales mostly with combat and fighting. and then freak is for how you see yourself as different from other people. So when you're unleashing your powers, you're releasing more of your ability. You're releasing your... Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Cool. And then the last part of the bull is the bull's heart. So go ahead and read that part aloud.
You always have exactly one love and one rival. You can change your love or rival at any time. Give the new subject of your affection or disdain influence over you. Take +1 ongoing to any action that impresses your love or frustrates your rival.
Cool. So, and this is characters that you can make up. It can be Walter's character if your character's secretly falling in love with Walter, or
Lord help me.
Etzel. So, what did you want to do for those?
Always say no homo.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
And your love doesn't necessarily have to be romantic.
I was prepared for a romantic relationship.
Okay. Well, we'll go with Etzel then.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Cool.
Oh.
That's fine.
Oh, cool.
This guy gets me, man.
Yeah, that's more what it is. He understands.
In more ways than one.
He went to
Oh.
Jared.
I wish I knew how to quit you. All right. What about rival? Do you want to make up a new character for rival? Maybe John's character is you're seeing John's character as a rival because you're both trying to be heroes, right?
Or
I don't
fighting
know.
for my love.
Do we have to start with that one? Because I think it'd be kind of neat if you had
Can we build on that?
like some
Yeah.
jackass hero comes in and tries to one up you on the strength thing, and then all of a sudden
Let's
you
make it
go,
right now.
like,
What jackass hero tried to one up
I
him on
don't know.
strength?
It's just
Where's
an
the
idea.
book?
The book.
This book?
Yeah. No, the other one.
Oh, that book.
You want to just make a hero?
Yeah, let's just make a hero.
Cool.
Can it be the cat? I'm just
So
kidding.
for everybody listening, I got this book called Everyman, which is a source book for the role-playing game Champions. And this book, highly recommend, is basically just a book of non-player characters you can pull from at any time. Most of them have abilities that are tied to the Champions gaming system, but I'm mostly pulling it for biographies, like types of people. So at the very end, it has an index of characters by job or role. Has index of characters by name, job, role, or associated superhumans. So for job role, let's see.
Strength or...
let's see.
If you want it to be somebody on the team, like in the party, absolutely. I just think
Does
it'd
that
be cool
book
to
have
an
one
outside-
guy who can like make
think it
a
would add to
really
the
good
story
grilled
if
cheese
it's someone else.
sandwich?
Let's see. You could be a comic book shop owner, a detective, pirate. Oh, no, wait, this is private.
We're just
A pirate detective. Right. Superhero fan, superhero bookie. Let's see. Super insurance salesman.
Super bookie?
I will.
Yeah, super. So basically, I guess they would bet on a hero fighting on a villain who would win. They could put a bet on it.
That's pretty cool.
I'm guessing that's what that could be. Or, hey, how much damage do you think they're going to do? Let's put a bet on it. Or like the Deadpool. Remember the beginning of Deadpool? They had the Deadpool?
Yeah.
The movie? Yeah, that'd be an example of some kind. I mean, none of them are superheroes, but that'd be an example of what could be like a superhero-related bet if that was just a bunch of hero names on there instead of other names. Oh, there we go. Index of associated superhumans. It could be. These are all just names, by the way. They're like literally just random names: Harpy, Lodestone, Meteor Man, Thunderbird, Thunderbolt 2, Viper, Cavalier. So why don't you go ahead and look at this list, Kyle? It's that associated superhumans list. Go ahead and look at it and just pick one. And then I'll flip to that page and we'll kind of talk about what's on that page.
Let's go with the new purple gang.
The new purple gang.
Yeah.
So you want your rival to be an entire gang?
Yeah, it works.
Okay. Well, so let's see. Page 84.
I hope it's something good.
I mean, it's it's a villain.
Talk
It
about
looks
rolling
like.
the dice. All right.
The new purple gang. I guess it's just people randomly that are on here. I mean, when I was thinking that, I was thinking when you said that. Now I'm thinking Gangrene Gang from Powerpuff Girls,
Yeah.
right? Were you thinking that too, Meg?
No, but it's awesome.
Yeah, the Gangrene Gang.
Oh my God.
Did you what?
Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the? I feel so out of touch. It's off topic. You keep looking while I'm doing this. But does anybody know the deal with like Ace and the Gorillas? Is it?
What?
No? Okay, never mind. Never mind.
So it's
Off
like
topic. How old are you?
Guess
31.
17, according to my character sheet.
but really 65. So it's like it's all names, and then it says like worried housewife, gangsta girl, spoiled rich kid, Tyler Marburg, spoiled rich kid. You want to do that, and then we'll just like make up some kind of power or something for him.
That works.
Okay, so Tyler, Tyler, man, bear, pig. Just kidding. Marburg, Marburg. He has all the powers of a man and a bear and a pig. Tyler's not aware that his father, Eric, is a leading member, if not the leading member of the Circle of the Scarlet Moon, an evil occult organization. You don't actually have to do that if you don't want to, but that is a kind of a cool name. Tyler Marburg, spoiled rich kid. Let's see if there's anything about his powers. His weapons are money and influence. So, how do you think your character? Why would a spoiled rich kid be a rival to your character? Like, did your character maybe grow up poor, or he grew up rich, and maybe his family was like a competing, like maybe your family is some sort of business, has some sort of business, and whatever business there's like maybe that this guy Tyler, his family's in a competing company in the same business.
Let's play him into the factions somehow.
Okay. So what do you want to do? How do you want to play that in?
I guess his family can like finance villains from another faction, basically. So they want to get this guy and kill him. And maybe his father doesn't know that he's using the money in a bad way.
So Tyler's
dad will be one of the faction leaders, and he is financing an army of villains.
And when you say faction, what kind of faction are you talking about?
What we talked about, maybe dividing the city into different areas, like no-go zones.
So would you say like the rich?
Are these like official like neighborhoods, or this is like a gang turf?
I'm thinking it's gang turf almost.
I can dig it.
Yeah.
All right.
So Tyler's family. So Tyler's family. So Tyler's family is kind of like a rich kind of, the rich uppity kind of like crime family gangsters, right?
Maybe not necessarily though. Maybe his dad doesn't know that he's.
So just Tyler's doing it?
Yeah.
Secretly.
So like,
Tyler is.
so Tyler's like 17, but he's a
Who is
faction, but he's
secretly-
like kind of a faction leader. He's a really young
he's
faction
used
leader.
his money to buy people. Yeah.
Cool.
So
So
maybe he doesn't necessarily fight him, but he fights the people that he's paid for.
Mm-hmm.
So much easier than just taking them. All right.
It's like you're legally buying homeless people.
No.
No,
Like
his character-
bribery and
He
maybe
brought
not
hi-
extortion.
oh,
but
Yeah. So Tyler bribes.
Or I pay you to do this.
Yeah,
because
Tyler
you're a
bribes
hitman or
villains.
something like it's.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That was a crack at your character, though.
Yeah, I
I'm
know. I
sorry.
saw that.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
So
It's
Tyler's
free
a
money.
faction leader, / crime boss, but his family doesn't know. Cool. All right, and then it says, choose a role you commonly fulfill for your love or rival. So are you a defender of your love, a defender of your rival, a friend? Like, is Tyler your rival? Like, are you friends with this guy and you just don't approve? A listener, they can always, when you pierce the mask of a love or rival, you can always let them ask you a question to ask them an additional question in turn, even on a miss. or an enabler? Do you enable your rival or your love? Like, let's say you being
Let's
a hero.
go with the listener. Yeah.
And well, it's one of each.
Okay.
So it'd be listener for love or rival. Which one would you want to do?
Let's listen to the rival and I guess defend the love. Is that what you're saying? Do
Yes.
okay, so defender of the love.
Yep. So go ahead and read aloud the defender part real quick.
When you leap to defend your love or rival in battle, roll plus danger instead of plus savior to defend them.
Cool. So pretty self-explanatory.
So defender Etzel.
Cool. And John, you had said you had some additional stuff you wanted to talk about for your character. So let's go ahead and jump back to John. John's character is the delinquent pinnacle.
The pinnacle of delinquency.
Yes.
No, so I was between the abilities and the moves. I'm looking at some of these. So like I originally had picked watching closely as one of the moves.
Which says
when you mislead, distract, or trick someone, roll superior. On a hit, they're fooled, at least for a moment. 10 plus, choose 3. 7 and 9, choose 2. And it gives a list of stuff. One of the abilities I was debating on filling in for my second slot was the the illusions. That's not necessary for that move, if I understand right.
correct.
Okay, so it can be, but it could make it a lot easier to use said move.
It won't necessarily give you a plus, but it would be easier to work in the fiction.
How do you
That's
mean?
what it is. So basically, the powers don't give you pluses to any of your moves.
Right.
It's just when we're describing that move, we would just use
Yeah, it'd be a
illusions to
hell of a
help.
lot easier for me to set up.
If you think so, if you think your character, yeah.
Okay.
I guess I don't understand the question. What do you mean?
Well, it's how can I refine this?
Because by misleading, distracting, or trick, you don't necessarily need to use illusions for that, right?
No, but it would make it much easier. Is the idea?
When you say much easier, do you mean easier to tell in the fiction? Easier as in
Easier to set up. Easier to like a bird flies by in the corner of your eye, but there's not actually a bird there because I made it happen, sort
Yeah.
of thing. And just to get you to look over there for a split second while I poof off.
Yeah.
Like,
What's
it's
that?
not-
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Ideally, or
Okay.
like say I'm on the run from somebody, and all of a sudden, it's a brick wall at the end of an alley, but
Yeah.
it's really not. I just kept going and made a fake wall, and then that would play into the actual move, which I think is a lot more useful for me personally as a player than just trying to talk somebody into being fooled of some sort of.
Cool.
Wow.
So
So I was more so just looking for clarification on. I guess we don't really know the limits of these
Yeah.
powers. That's the point of playing.
yeah, I mean by proxy too. So that means Pinnacle had those powers at one point, right? That was his. That would be part
Ideally,
of
if we stick with all of mine only came from
from
contacting him.
Pinnacle. Yeah.
So I was trying to decide whether or not it was worth keeping both of those and being a little bit redundant, or whether or not I would want to switch one of the moves to like Mary Contrary or something where it's a little more like I do what I want, like, which is the one that interferes when someone tries to like pierce a mask, come for support, or provoke. Basically, I'm just trying for clarification on using the moves, specifically those two, and helping me pick between. Like the table's welcome to answer. I will probably.
Yeah, because right now you have Criminal Mind, I Don't Care What You Think, and Are You Watching Closely, right? And you were looking at Mary Contrary and Troublemaker. Was that the other one?
No. So I had Don't Care, Criminal Mind, and Closely. I was debating on swapping closely out for like contrary.
And Mary Contraries. What one does that say? Just go
When
read
they
it.
try to pierce your mask, comfort, support, or provoke, you can interfere. You roll superior. On a hit, they take -2 to their roll. On a 10+, you also take influence over them or clear a condition. On a miss, they get 10+ no matter what they rolled. And I mark a condition at their choice. Which, for the relationship between, we'll say Ryan and Pinnacle, makes a lot more sense to use, I think.
Oh, by the
but
way,
it's not a...
we did that off mic. What did you want your character's name
Oh
to
yeah,
be?
I was playing around with names. I threw some options into a random name generator, and a couple of the things that spat back I actually really liked. So, oddly enough, Ryan, if my father's friend's son, okay, just laying it out. If my father's friend's son had not come first, I would have been Orion. So he was Orion, so instead I'm John.
So he was Orion.
So anyway, so I just picked that because it rolled nice with the R. Royce was one of the ones that popped up as a name in the generator.
Rolls.
Right? And looking it up, it's what did I say? The definition that I found was basically royalty is the idea, which he would certainly think himself to be so. And then as like he may not start out with this early game, but he will probably try to, when he needs a name. I was thinking about Blythe as far as like when the suit's on, so to speak.
So even though some people will see Pinnacle when he's fighting, they'll be like, "That's Pinnacle." No, wait, that's Blythe, right?
Fair.
Okay.
Because again, we don't know how clear that image is going to be either. And it might even get stronger with the bond. This whole thing might be a twist just to bring Pinnacle back from the dead or something, with me as a host. Who knows? But for the initial game, he's genuinely trying to like correct my life path sort of thing. But no, Blythe is another one that popped up in the generator, and I was like, yeah, like Randy Blythe. He's badass. Why not?
Yeah, he killed somebody, just like a delinquent would.
Well, well.
That's a whole nother thing, podcasters.
Ooh, oh.
Podcast audience. You can Google that later.
Look, he was cleared of all charges.
In a Czech court.
That's a word. Okay, I'm not getting into this right now.
Checkmate.
We're gonna have words. You and I are gonna have
We're
words.
gonna have words.
But no, so when I looked up like what the meaning behind that name, it came up mostly with ideas like carefree and that sort of thing, which outwardly would definitely be the image he's trying to present. Inwardly, perhaps not so much. I don't know, that and it just sounds cool, I think. So,
Blythe. Come
And
on,
are
Randy.
these your actual names or your superhero names?
Ryan would be the name, Ryan Royce, and then Blythe would be the powered up name.
Okay.
And I imagine I'm hope the joke's not on me. Everybody's been taking notes on what everybody's saying today, and I was just gonna wait. Are you gonna put this one up
It's
for
gonna
us
be a
as well?
test.
What, to listen to?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I win. All right. Good. Otherwise, I'd feel like an ass for not writing it down now. But
Yeah.
I'm on your boat too.
that's pretty it. I don't know. What do you guys think would be a better use of powers? So I want to keep teleport because that's just awesome. Really, it's between power negation. I feel like is going to get a little weird, a little OP, maybe. Kind of like the idea of having to be creative with the illusions or psychic weapons.
I feel like illusions is really cool.
Yeah.
I definitely like that.
And I do kind of want to emphasize, if there's ever a superpower you thought was cool and you don't want, and it's not
We
on
just
the
throw it on the list.
and it's not on the abilities, I don't care if you take it.
I do enjoy the idea of being more a utility character, though. I'm not necessarily like we have offense and defense, and we have. I don't know. It's
We have a guy named Etzel.
Yeah.
His power is being a guy named Etzel.
I need you to make a power where you can slash these prices down so I can buy everything.
terrible.
All right, ants in my eyes, Johnson. Fake doors to nowhere.
First thing
God,
about
I hate
me.
Rick and Morty.
First thing about me.
hate
Personal
it?
space.
Dude, I cannot get into Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I don't know
at all.
why. I
I've
don't know
watched.
if you
I've
watch
watched
all the
every.
seasons.
I do. I watched every episode because my best friend Nick loves that show, so I watch it. And I can't. I can't do it. It's Futurama with cussing, and I love Futurama. I don't need another Futurama.
Have you seen any of Disenchantment?
I haven't. Everybody on my Facebook keeps saying it's awesome. I gotta watch it.
It's pretty good.
Disenchantment?
Yeah.
I like it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is it the same illustrator as
Yeah,
the
Matt
others?
Groening,
'Cause it looks
right?
just
Yep.
like it.
Or Grain. I don't know how to
Yeah,
pronounce
it's The
it.
Matt Groening.
Simpsons, and I think Futurama as well. A lot of the voices you hear carry over too.
John DiMaggio's on it too, right?
That and
Jay West.
Eric Andre.
Oh yeah.
It's a
Okay,
it's a
you
great
lost
show.
me again with Eric Andre.
Damn.
Yeah, he hates
Another
anything
show.
that's funny.
Another show on
Now,
Adult
see,
Swim I can't
his
get
show I'm not really that into, but I enjoy.
into. What else is he in? You know what? Well,
I mean, as a voice actor,
Well-
whatever. Yeah. Hey, so podcast.
we'll have words.
That was kind of it. I mean, if you guys think illusions are a better option, I mean, that basically makes me a non-combative character,
You can
at least in any meaningful way in a superpowered world.
And that's totally
You
can
fine
use
because
the
remember,
illusions.
like I mentioned,
Yeah, but these
it-
aren't hard constructs
yeah.
either. This is not like.
one thing I've mentioned is this game isn't all about combat. John brought it up at our episode 0 session. This game isn't about stacking your team like D&D. So it's not about making sure you can have a character can heal, a character that can sneak, a character that can fight, a character that can cast magic missile at the darkness. This is going to be mostly story based. So don't feel like you have to be limited because you want to stack the team.
I think for a delinquent-esque character, teleportation and illusion is kind of
Teleportation is pretty fucking badass.
Plus, who's to say it might fall under unleashing my powers? It might be a bit of a stretch of my abilities, but who couldn't say that I make it look like there's 12 of you all at once all
Yeah.
of a sudden? Like there's not.
Or you teleport something else that you're not even touching.
Oh, I hadn't even
Tele-
considered that.
Teleport something to you.
Something that isn't me. I was just thinking move around like Nightcrawler, that kind of thing. I
Yeah,
had not even
but that
thought of,
could be
like,
a stretch of your
drop
powers.
that car on him over there. Like
Yeah.
that's.
Because
a good
how does
idea.
your character teleport?
I'm excited now.
Does your character like ghost? Does your it's like a snap crack, like a big crack like that, like
you would think-
Nightcrawler? Does he walk through a portal?
Physically, there would have to be a noise if we're living in the real world, because anytime you remove something from that space, it's going to create a vacuum. So, like, almost a sonic boom. I don't want
Yeah.
it to be quite that. Like, X-Men actually does a pretty good job of doing away with that, leaving the cloud of sulfur and smoke and everything, because he actually goes through a different, like a hell-like dimension
Yeah,
to
he-
do so.
He goes through he goes through hell in and out of it, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. If you
But
want
either
to
way,
try,
he's replacing that
Yeah.
space, so you don't get that
Yeah.
compression, you don't get that boom.
just creating a portal could also be considered teleportation. If you just walk through a portal or do a portal underneath a car, and it falls through, right?
like actually playing Portal.
Yeah. And that could, yeah. So, do you know how your character teleports?
I will refine that and get back to you.
Okay.
I hadn't
'Cause that
hadn't
would-
thought about it quite
Yeah.
so
And
far.
unleashing your powers for that, like an example of that, something difficult would be teleporting you and somebody else somewhere. The first time you're going to do that in a game, I'm going to make you roll for it,
Or
and
like,
that will
how do you want to
dictate
play
from there.
with like somewhere you can't see?
Yeah, so that would
like-
be something that would be an example of unleashing your powers.
End up
And-
inside a wall.
Yep.
Like,
So you would roll for that, and if you fail, then we'll probably dictate the fiction, and you'd have to try again later too.
would be badass though if we ever had like a hostage situation. You could use like your radar, and I could just pull them out. Oh, it's
yeah.
gonna be sick. All right, no,
Yeah.
this is good pair. I like it.
Yeah,
I'm
because
sticking with those.
he could see into somebody's mind, who can see the room that they're in, and then that's all that you could try and see if that's good enough for you to teleport into or teleport out of. Right? That's cool.
So
Do you have any other questions or anything about your character you want to talk about?
no, I'm kind of just torn between do I want to be between the Mary Contrary and the Are You Watching? Both of which I'm gonna have to think about this until next session and come back to you when I
Yeah.
have the backstory and everything too, because both of those could easily work to my advantage.
Yeah. All right, cool. Does anybody else have any more questions about any other characters they think they want to go over again now that we've kind of gone through everything?
I've got a clarification. Maybe
Mhm.
I thought of an idea to deal with the age thing. The reason I chose an older age is because I wanted her to know what her world was like and be on it before, and not just be like, a baby whenever
Yeah.
it was moving. So maybe there was like some kind of like freeze sleep, or like a, what do they call that? You know what I'm talking about?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, even still, your
Right.
character, you could have
Yeah.
been on your planet until you were 10, of your age,
Mhm.
and then for the next 7 years of your age is how long you've been traveling.
Okay.
Yeah, you could still do something like that.
Cool. So it could still be young, but
But
I
remember,
wanted
yeah,
I wanted it to be like that memory.
To have knowledge of both worlds.
Yes.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah.
you remember your home.
I
Kind
don't
of
want
like.
it to be like, oh, I'm from a ship.
have you
you
seen
know?
Alien?
Which one?
The very first one where she like gets in a pod and then kind of like travels cryogenically frozen until the next movie.
I think the way that Meg and I had kind of described it at first, the ship that her people came in was very Wall-E. Remember, everybody left the planet,
Okay, yeah.
but except they weren't gone 4 generations and they all got fat and gross. They've only been gone a little while, but they willingly left their planet.
Well, they've all secretly been eating people, anyways.
That's Walter's character.
Homeless
not hers.
people.
No. Have you? That's an actual theory about that movie.
Oh,
Is it-
yeah, because you don't see any bodies or anything, I bet.
Of what movie?
or food, or yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Of what movie?
The humans in Wall-E are cannibals.
Oh, really?
I mean, not for
I haven't
real.
seen the movie, so
You haven't seen Wall-E?
no.
Like, so it's
Unpopular
like,
opinion.
just like reeled from the
Dude,
table.
it's literally half of your name.
Yeah. And
Wally, Walter? It's like the same
And?
thing.
Brilliant.
Like, I don't know. That's weird. That I don't know. I might have to find somebody to replace you, Walter. That's weird. Haven't seen Wally.
We're
I'll rip your
disappointingly
beard
shaking
off.
our heads.
Okay. Did anybody else have any other questions or anything regarding their characters today?
no, I'm good.
All right, cool. So we're going to go ahead and cut it off here for today. Thanks for joining us on our game of masks, the Core City Cadets. Hopefully we'll have some social media and stuff for people to be able to follow by the time this recording comes out. And if there is, I'm just going to voice it over anyway. So,
Do it.
Brilliant.
right. All right, guys.
All right.